we go. Once again, March 23rd. I want to be able to open it up to questions at any point. So if anybody has anything they want to share, go ahead and feel free to put your hand up with the little reactions tab there, and I'll get to you. Or if you don't know how to do that, just wave at me and hopefully I'll see you. Last week was pretty wild. We actually went 4 hours on the call. That was pretty crazy. And for those of you that weren't there live, the second half of the recording was not recorded because we got into some sensitive areas. So I turned the record off, and so that was basically only for the live ones. So all right, Suzanne, you got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute.
Okay, my first question, and I didn't realize this when I joined this yesterday. I have a standing appointment to have my Yorkie groomed by the best dog groomer in Tucson. She has no vacancies. Okay. So it's like asking her to reschedule is like probably not going to happen. But
well, normally this call is at 11. Today was an oddball time because I'm doing a speaking engagement this afternoon.
Okay. His appointment's at 11:30.
Oh, okay.
So well, what happens?
All the calls are recorded, and if you've got something you want me to cover, you can just send it to me, and then I can cover it on the call, and then you just watch the replay.
Okay, that's what's going to happen because I can't.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's not a problem. We have people like all over the world, so there's people in different time zones. Our calls like in the middle of their night, and in fact, Jay is on here. He's in Greece. He's I don't know what time it is for him, but it's not a pleasant time to be up, I'm sure.
Oh man, it's early now. It's only 6:03 p.m. So we're all good. This is just about starting daytime here.
Awesome. But yeah, if you ever can't make it and you've got something that you need addressed, don't feel bad about that. Just, either send me an email or put it into any of the forums or anything, and I'll get that for you. Not a problem. All right, Helene.
John, thank you for starting at 9 a.m. I wish you did that all the time. It's
you're on the East Coast, aren't you?
No, I'm a Pacific time. I'm on the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
And essentially, because if you start at 11, you're going over lunchtime, and you're also going into the afternoon, and it's so much better if you just do it in the morning.
Well, about once a year, I put out a survey to the whole group.
Yeah.
And I ask, I have like all the different time slots, and ever since the very beginning, this goes back over 10 years, the most votes are for Thursday at 11.
Okay.
And I don't know why that is, but it's been every single time. Because I go, okay, here's your chance to change the time, because I could do it anytime. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want to do it for what's most useful for the whole group. So we take a vote every year, so you'll get another shot at doing that.
Well, thank you anyway. I love your talks.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, Alice.
Good morning, John.
Morning.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, because going through your avatars and a couple times, 2-3 times actually, I found out that actually my avatars, I found the 2 avatars, and because just like you said that, it's not the market. So I try to figure the individuals, and finally I identify, I'm in wellness and weight management. Okay. So that's what I focus. So you can see it's a huge market. So first I thought about the weight management is so big. So I focus on that, but finally I found out really the avatar. Okay. Now, with the, that kind of an avatar, like yesterday I mentioned about sometimes struggle with the pricing. So, and basically, can you explain again the pricing strategy in that kind of avatar? But the second avatar I identify is with general pain. Okay, and actually, a few customers have been a long-term customer. So I thought that kind of avatar I should, focus too. And yeah, so can you give me a little bit, advice on that? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. So when you're talking about price, you have to kind of go back to the very beginning when you do your market segmentation and you're looking for a profitable segment of the market. You have to make sure that you've got all three legs of that checked off. What I mean by that is when we're doing the profitable segment, that's the one where you want to select your avatar from. And it has to have three different criteria to qualify. One of them is the market size. The market has to be big enough. So you've got that box checked, no problem. The next one is the problem has to be big enough that they would actually pay what you want, right? You have to solve a big enough problem, which I think you've got that one checked off. Weight's a big problem for a lot of people. The other one is they not only have to have the willingness to pay that amount, they have to have the ability to pay that amount. So it's ability to pay, willingness to pay, and the size of the market. You literally have to check all three boxes for you to feel comfortable that, okay, I've found the right box to work from. And now I want to dip in there and I want to see who the avatar is. So if you've checked the boxes, if they've got the money, the problem is big enough, and the market size, if all those are checked, right, and you start working in this and you still discover that price is an issue, that moves the problem out of the avatar box and it moves it over to the messaging box. So messaging is the creation part of ACT. So you've got the analysis, which is really, really important. One thing about it, it's ultra important. Okay, I can't stress that enough. But I also want to stress not to get stuck there, because a lot of people get stuck in analysis and they just can't move forward. So I don't want you to get caught up in that. Like just do that piece, get it to where you're comfortable with, and then move into the messaging, which is the creation part of ACT. And when you're talking about the messaging, you've got grab their attention. So you have to make sure that you're grabbing their attention. Analytics is a really good place to figure this stuff out. If you've got people looking at your website, if you've got people clicking on your ads and all that, you're getting them in. So you're obviously grabbing their attention somewhere. If you're not getting anybody, to look at your stuff, then that could be a problem with your big idea. That's your attention grabber. Or it could be a traffic problem. You could have a phenomenal funnel. You could have all your creation pieces done perfectly right, and they could work like gangbusters. But if it's a traffic problem, all that means is you're just not showing it to the right eyeballs. So let's step back to the piece about the price. I see this being an issue probably most likely in the creation portion. And remember, grab attention. That's the first part of creation. And then once you've got their attention, now it's your job to create demand and desire. This is where you're seducing the heart, you're convincing the head. This part's really important. And a lot of times what will happen is if you haven't done that, let's say you haven't done that part, you haven't created demand and desire, they don't really want it that bad. And then when you get to your offer, they just say, nah, there's no reason for them to take it. You haven't taken them through that process yet. So I call it creating value. When you create enough value, think about the value and the money that they're going to pay, kind of like one of those old-fashioned balance beams where, you know, you put a marble on the left side and then it leans that way. You put one on the right side, it evens out. You want to stack so many marbles onto your side that the price looks irrelevant. So that's in creating value. So one of the biggest ways that you can create value is in proof that it's going to work. So showing them how it works, showing them why it works, showing them how what you're doing is different than what they've experienced before. All that stuff is going to add value. Benefits add values. Features do not add values. I see so many people talking about the features of what they do. Remember, feature is what it is. If what you're saying to them, you could sit back and you can say, okay, that's what it is that I'm selling them. That's a feature. If you say, this is what it does, that's a benefit. So you want to stack as many benefits on there as possible. That's going to add value. And then if you've created the value and you've created the demand and desire, that balance beam should be really, really heavy compared to the price. So that should eliminate your price issues if that's truly the problem. So you could see, you could potentially have this problem in any three of the buckets. You might have the wrong, you might not have a profitable segment that you've created your avatar in. That's problem in the act button in the A. The value is in the C, that's in the creation. And then the traffic, if you're just not getting people to see it, that doesn't mean that it's not working. That just means they haven't seen it yet. So you could literally have a problem in any one of those three areas. So I always start at the beginning and I make sure that I'm getting everything right all the way along, because when you get to traffic should be the last thing that you do. Because a lot of times, well, all the time, traffic is going to cost you. Traffic costs money, whether it's dollars or time. You know, a lot of people do SEO and they say, oh, well, I get free traffic. Well, how long did it take you? What is your time worth? It's costing you one way or another. So when something is costing you something, you want to make sure you get value for exchange, right? You don't want to pay a bunch of money for traffic and then not make any sales. That makes no sense whatsoever. So you have to make sure you've got the first two pieces right before you drive traffic, right?
Thank you, John. I think for that weight management, I mean, it's the avatar is a very easy, because the market size is huge and the problem, is a big enough. For example, people, because of the weight, they cannot walk or cannot, have enough energy. So we use, for example, testimonials, Facebook, and webinars. Do you think that is the also right of a messaging? In a sense,
well, those testimonials and things that's one piece. That is only one piece. If that's all you're doing, that's not enough. One of the biggest problems I see is people underestimating how difficult it's going to be to sell their products or their services. You could have the best thing in the world and you could know that. You could literally know this thing is awesome, right? Whatever it is that you're doing or selling, you could know in your mind, this is awesome. This could change lives. And people are going to, in your thinking, people should just blow my door down to get this, right? And I know, because I've done this many, many times. I'm no longer a young man, so I've had a lot of chances to do this. And every time, ever since I was a little kid, every time I thought, this is great, everyone should want this, they're going to, I won't be able to keep up. And then you take it to market and it falls on its face. And it doesn't mean the thing's not good. It just means you missed one of those three areas. Either you didn't get the market right, or you couldn't convey the value to the market, which is in the creation, the messaging part, or you weren't showing it to the right people. It's always, 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 always in one of those three areas. When I do private consulting for big companies, that it's so easy for me. I can walk into their company and I can tell them exactly how to tenfold their business, because I can find the problem so quickly in one of those three buckets. It's always there. The only problem that exists outside of those three buckets is personnel. And there are those issues in companies, and that I don't specialize in. I tell them, you know, if I see that, I will tell them, like, here's your problem. Good luck. We might call Jay in to rewire them and fix that problem. That's not in marketing.
I see. Okay. My second one, I think, I got the answer from yesterday. It's just so valuable, John. I tell you, your session is really very helpful to my business, okay? Because it's related to the general health. General health. And I have quite a lot of long-term customers, maybe 10, 15 years. They are just buying online, whatever. But I thought how to expand that kind of an avatar to other areas. And then you mentioned about the interview and research. I think those are the parts I can do.
Yeah, well,
I think it will be very helpful.
Here's something that will really, really help you specifically. If you go back, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the call that we did 2 weeks ago, where I actually played that interview from the people that were selling the health supplements. They did a phenomenal job. It's really hard to do this. It's hard to sell stuff, more generically out to a whole bunch of people, but they did a magnificent job of doing that. They didn't identify any particular problem, but it was a health related thing, and they hit everything. Like, it didn't matter if you needed to lose weight, or you had achy joints, or you were feeling like you were getting old, or you were scared of a heart attack. They hit it all. And they wrapped it up into taking this one supplement thing that they had for overall general health, no matter what you're facing. So what they did, and like I said, this was really brilliant on their part, and this is not easy to do. But what they did was they did take a market with a mega amount of segments, and they presented it in a way that you got the idea that, wow, this would work for anything. And then all of a sudden the avatars start exposing themselves. Well, that's me, that's me, that's me. Really hard to do, but they did a really good job. I would really recommend you go back and watch that video. It was probably 30 minutes where I stopped it every time. I'd break it down. I'm like, here's what they're doing. Here's what they're doing. Here's what they're doing. So you don't just like see what they're doing. I actually stop in the middle and tell you what they're doing. And then Jay was there. He actually made notes on it. So I've got those notes, and I'll check. I think I put those up already, but if not, I'll put those up for you.
That's where I can find the recording. Is this Learn from Sue, and everything is there?
No, it's in the ACT program. It's in your membership area, like where you see all the videos.
Yeah.
It'll be the one from 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think I even labeled it health review, because we reviewed their campaign, and it was really good. I was driving home the previous Sunday, and this ad came on the radio. I turned my favorite station on, expecting to hear some good music, and here's an ad. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. That's not what I wanted. But then I started listening to it, and I'm like, damn, these guys are good. I'm always looking to see what other people are doing, because I'm always in the competitive analysis, because I deal with so many different markets because of, what I do here with you guys. So I'm always looking. And when I can find good examples, I always bring them forward to show you guys so you can learn faster. And that was just absolutely phenomenal. When I got home, I'm like, I got to get that recording. You guys got to hear this. And I found the radio station. I actually dug it up and I played it on the call and broke down every piece so you could see what they were doing. And every piece of what they were doing fits into all the stuff that I'm teaching you guys. It was just a spectacular way that they had put it together in one presentation. And they sell like crazy. I got to tell you, I've talked to people that know that company, how long they've been around. That's a massive company. And that's how they do it. They learn how to sell their product. They learn how to convey the value. They learn how to close the deals. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at all to know that they hired an ad agency to do that for them. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. So,
Thank you, John.
all right, Shelley.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Sure.
Excellent.
Hi,
Hello.
I have a couple of questions and it's personal about my business, so I hope it doesn't bore everybody, but maybe they'll learn something. So I am only days away from calling your office to have them update my website. I have a couple of questions. One is I'm going to be taking my brick and mortar school teaching and I'm going to be putting it online. Can your guys do that, or do you recommend going to Kartra?
Well, Kartra is just a tool. They don't
Yes.
they don't build things for you. They just
No, I know that. Yeah.
But I may, you know, after exactly what I recommend Kartra as far as the platform to build your school on. Because you can take the payments, it can do the membership, it can do the access, it can do all the learning tracks. That piece of it, I would probably definitely recommend doing it in Kartra for sure.
So the curriculum itself then would be online? Like, do you have templates that could be done for that? And
Yeah.
how many templates, or how, I guess it's endless, right? Whether it's a 4-month program or a 6-month program or a year. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can actually create different platforms, different programs inside of there. Like,
Yeah, because
you could create like the level 1, and then you could also have the buttons for the level 2 stuff in there. But if they were only signed up for level 1, they couldn't access those buttons.
right.
Or if they click on them, a little box pops up that says that's level 2. If you'd like to upgrade, click here, and it automatically upsells them.
Okay, so, and that's considered a funnel for that particular course, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the back
Second,
end. That's like back end. On a funnel, you usually have a front end, which is your first sale. That's where that's where the magic happens, in the front end of the funnel, where you convert them from a prospect to a customer. But then the money comes from the back end typically.
yeah,
Like, it's truly magical though when you change somebody from a prospect to a customer, even if it's only for $1. That change in your relationship makes a huge difference. Like, if you
right.
take a list, you could have 1,000 people on a list that are interested in what you do, and you can make them an offer, and you might get, 1 or 2% conversion, 1 or 2, and that would be considered pretty good. Now, you could take a customer list of 10% of that. If you had 1,000 people on your prospect list and you had 100 people on your customer list, you could make the exact same offer to the customers and you might get 30 or 40% conversion. There's a huge difference between your relationship with them, their trust in you. And
Right.
and in the back end, this is because the back end, that's where all the money is. So
Right.
whenever somebody buys a first purchase from you, whether it be a training, a learning course, a master class, doesn't matter, whatever it is. It could be a live event even. Your chances of selling them the next one and the next one and the next one goes exponentially through the roof.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but did you not say last week or the week before that Kartra does not like list building?
No, I did not say that.
Okay,
They love list building. It's all about list building. But what they don't like is they don't like spam. They have like 000 tolerance for spam. So what will get your account banned, and when I say banned, I'm just talking about the email portion of it. They never ban your whole Kartra account, just the email. And they're basically saying, if you're good, we will allow you to use our mail rail system, which
okay,
is really cool. So what I see is people will import a list that they've created somewhere else, and it's not a good list. It's got a bunch of bounce rate. It's got a bunch of people that have dead email addresses, and it's got people that didn't necessarily opt in for what you are sending them now through Kartra. So if Kartra sees a high bounce rate, like a non-existent open rate, like you send 1,000 emails and no one opens them, Kartra knows that's junk. Also, if anyone complains at all, you're done. They seriously have a zero tolerance.
okay,
So I do not recommend importing an existing list and then using Kartra to blow your mail out.
right,
That's what
okay.
I'm talking about.
So they're looking for how fast the email list is coming in. So it would be a red flag for them if I imported 500 names or 500 emails at a time, right?
Yeah.
So while we're on the list of emails, so I mean, years ago, there were companies that sold email lists.
Oh yeah, do not
No,
import this.
I never did, and I nor I wouldn't, but I just wanted to get your, because half of them might not be like you're saying, they might not be correct or even valid, right?
Yeah, now email marketing, that's bulk email marketing. So let's talk about that for a minute, because that's in the traffic section. I know a lot of you aren't ready for that yet, but this is a really important conversation. In bulk email marketing, 98% of the world hates it, but it works. Okay. So if you're in the 2% and it's working for you, you love it. But you're gonna come under some fire for using it. It's not for the thin-skinned. I mean, seriously, I have gotten death threats because of it. And you have to just let that roll off your back. It's not real. It's just, idiots that I don't even want to go into it. It's just idiots. But if you are not thick-skinned and you still want to take advantage of it, you can hire a company that will do it for you, and they'll just send you through the pristine leads that they're funneling through. So like with Kartra, for instance, you want to build a list in Kartra, you absolutely want to do that, but it should be a golden list. So if you have, let's say you have Aweber or MailChimp or something else, you've built a big list over the past, who knows how many years, and you want to get that list into Kartra, what you do is you create a new lead magnet, something that that list is really going to want, and you send out, you go over to MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever your mail program is, wherever your current list is. Go there and send an email out to everyone on the list and say, hey guys, I've got this new exciting thing. I would love to give it to you. Here's the link. That link sends them to a Kartra page where they opt in on Kartra. You are golden after that. They opt in on Kartra. That's what Kartra wants to see. You are fully compliant. Now they're on your Kartra list and they've acted on something that you offered them. That's a hot lead. Don't sit on it. Don't just like pile them into Kartra and leave them there for years.
Okay.
You should be communicating with your list on a not overdo it, but on a regular basis, maybe at least once a month.
Okay. So I mean, I don't have a list because I've come from brick and mortar. I come out of retirement from brick and mortar. So everybody
Okay.
came to me. So what do you recommend is the best, most effective way to gain emails from individuals? I mean, I can try Facebook, which is failing everybody, it seems. What do you recommend?
Um, Facebook is not a failure. There's a lot of people that are doing really well with it. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of knowing what to do.
yeah,
If you're, I guarantee you, if you're targeting the right audience and you're targeting it with the right attention grabbing message, I guarantee you Facebook will work.
okay,
But if you're just posting onto your timeline and Facebook, your whatever they call it, your feed,
yeah,
the only people seeing that's your friends and family. That's
right,
it.
yeah.
It's
But
not going
Facebook
out.
seems to want to change my ads. I mean, I to go to buy an ad, not to boost, but to buy an ad, and I submit it for review, and then they change it. They actually changed the wording of my ad. They
Yeah,
changed my call to action buttons to go somewhere else.
they are
And
a little fickle with that. But if you figure it out, if you get around, all their nonsense and you get the messaging right and you're able to target, a specific ad or specific market inside there,
yeah,
the audience targeting is like a big key in Facebook.
yeah, okay. Thank you. My last question is, so once you have your analytics or you've analyzed your buckets and if you're watching the growth, like for you guys, like, I mean, down the road, like once you're finished my site, which I'm like super stoked to get ready to get done. And if I find that my message needs to be changed or to say to them, look, I'm really not getting the response I want. Can we take a secondary look at this? Do they do that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, your
Oh,
website, guarantee your website's never going to be finished.
no,
If
no, I know that. Yeah.
you
Okay.
have a finished website, that's not working.
Yeah.
It's not working as good as it could work.
Right.
Always,
And
yeah, you're always going to learn. You're going to be
okay.
learning from your market every step.
Okay. So will your staff, this is for sure the last question.
Sure, no
Will
problem.
your staff then be able to inform me or teach me if I happen to go in and take a look at that to analyze it, and they'll say, oh yeah, no, it's doing okay? Or can they say, no, you need to, relook at something? Or is that my job?
That would be your job unless you hire someone to run and manage your traffic for you. Because that's kind of analysis of your analysis is based on traffic. So
Okay.
whoever is running your traffic campaigns, if that's you, then that falls in your lap. If
Okay.
you're hiring somebody, yes, they would absolutely. They have usually scheduled calls with you to go over.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's where that would
And
take.
so what would these people be called professionally? What are they called?
They're ad buyers.
Ad buyers.
It's ad management. And
Okay.
it's like in search, it's called pay-per-click. You're paying for a pay-per-click company to run your campaigns. In social, it's a social media manager. And that's a very loose term. I've seen people call themselves a social media manager and they just post stuff on your timeline.
Which is just a virtual assistant?
Yeah, if that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay. All right.
classify that as a waste of time because
Okay.
all you're reaching is people that are following you currently. Now, if you have a massive following, then, that's a different story. But if you're just getting started and you're trying to build a business and grow a list, that's not going to do it. That's the only way that would do it is if you could literally get all the people that were connected to you to get on board and you could indoctrinate them to become salespeople and share your message with their people and teach them to do the same thing. Not very likely.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Thank you
if
very much.
if you're
Yeah.
somebody that can move mountains, then that would be a game you might want to try.
Mm.
Me, I don't like to work that hard.
Yeah, last time I looked, I wasn't a mountain mover.
Yeah, I don't have enough sweat in me to even want to accomplish that.
Thanks kindly.
All right, Jason.
Hey, John, I just joined your group, and I just want to say this is a gold mine. Really appreciate you being of service and sharing.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
So my situation is I lost my corporate job, and I'm like in this in-between space, and I started to look at what I want to do, and I'm like, I've been helping my friends on the side with some SEO tasks and websites. So I'm like, okay, I think I can make some money here. And then I was like, oh, John has a huge experience in SEO. So I'm working through the curriculum that you gave us. I'm to the point now where I'm building my avatar, and I have a list of, I went back through and looked at the tools that I have, and then I reverse engineered how much time each tool would take on my site, so I could get a good sense of the delivery. And so now I've got a couple packages that I'm working with. And my question to you is, considering that I'm sort of new, but I quickly learn stuff like this, where should I point myself to start to get my first customers so I can learn more about the market and practice and, do good work for them, but also, pace it for myself so I'm focused?
Sure, absolutely. There's a lot of different places where you can do this. There's a lot of forums, like look inside Alignable. Alignable is loaded with people that need help. And it's interesting you say, you lost your corporate job and now you're looking for something to do. If you don't have like a product or a service or something, there's a ton of opportunity in figuring out what people need. And you're already onto it. Like SEO and online marketing, this is something that most people, like they did a study on Alignable, and most people said marketing is where they struggle, right? So whenever you have a struggling market, that's a great place to show up with a life frame. And you will be able to get business out of that, no problem. So like for instance, let's say I'll use Facebook for an example, because most people are more used to that. There's a 1,000,001 groups inside of Facebook, and they're almost like user groups where people go to learn things or to figure out how to do something. And for instance, there's a ton of them of SEO groups. And there's a lot of people that go in there that, like a small business owner, they get this idea from who knows where that they need SEO, right? Whether they do or not is irrelevant. Not everyone needs SEO, but they get, maybe somebody told them, or maybe their friend is killing it from SEO. So they've got in their mind, okay, SEO is what I need. You always want to sell somebody what they're wanting.
Yeah.
You never want to try and sell them what they actually need. You sell them what they want, and then you give them what they need. So when they come to you, they'll tell you what they think they want. And then you look at it and they might be right. They might not be. So then it's your job to steer them in the right direction. So SEO is a great entry point. There's a ton of places. Like I talked to one woman, she ran a good size SEO agency, and she was from the same background you were. She had a corporate job. She lost her corporate job, and she went into that. And she went on a forum, an internet forum called Black Hat World. And she got lucky, because Black Hat World, everyone gets this idea. They go in there looking for black hat tricks, like to get things done really quickly. Stuff that not necessarily is in alignment with Google and all that. You've probably heard the whole black hat, white hat thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Black Hat World is a place where, it's a massive forum. There's millions of people in it. So she went in there and she noticed there's a whole bunch of people asking elementary questions in here. And they were going in there thinking that, hey, I want the advantage. Because business owners, one thing about business owners, they like a competitive advantage. So that was a place where they were showing up looking for it. So she thought, wow, there's a lot of people that want, basic stuff in here. And she was just like you. She was just getting started out. She goes, I can offer them basic stuff. So she did the research. She figured out a few things that she could, open her doors with, and she started offering it to them in there. She started going into the forums and answering questions and then saying, I offer this stuff. You have to kind of be careful when you're in someone else's forum that you're not blatantly advertising. Like, you don't go in there and just spam their forum and say, hey, I'm doing this, sign up over here. You have to go in and participate, become part of the community, become trusted, and then, guide people to your stuff, kind of under the radar, but you can get a lot of customers that way. And then she also, after she got up and running and she really got up to speed, she started hiring VAs to do the work for her. And then she just became a sales machine. At that point, she actually started purchasing ads inside Black Hat World. So she would target the exact forum for a product or service she was offering, and she would run banner ads to them inside there. And she did really, really well. And one of the things she was selling was one of our software packages. So she sold.
You piqued my interest. Hold on, let's just change course. What do you mean your software package?
I have SEO software that I sell to agencies.
Oh, well, I'd like to talk to you.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, when I got into the internet space, it was back in like 1995, and I was forced into it. I had kind of the same thing. I've never had a job. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that.
You're lucky. It's soul sucking.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. That's why it's the furthest thing from my comprehension I can imagine. But I had a really good job that I had created. I had a photo studio, and I built this thing from scratch when I was 21 years old. And it's still the company, the C Corp that started is still running today. It's my umbrella for everything. But I started on my 21st birthday, and I got into commercial high-end special effects photography. And I had like a 10-year run at it. It was awesome. The only thing that changed it was Photoshop. Photoshop came in and destroyed that career. That industry doesn't even exist anymore. It's like Kodak film. It's gone. So if I would have stayed in that, I would have been destroyed. But what I saw was a massive opportunity. I said, all this stuff I'm doing that I specialize in that no one else knows how to do is about to disappear. And a new world is emerging that I'm going to have the same thing. It's going to be magical. No one's going to know how to do it. All I have to do is figure it out. That was the internet. I knew nothing about it. Literally nothing. I didn't have a computer. I didn't know anything about a computer, but I bought one. I figured I better figure this shit out and do it quick. So I had all these massive clients. I had corporate clients all over the place because I was working with ad agencies. That's where I learned this stuff. And I started offering to build them websites. And I had hurdle after hurdle that I got over. But I think from a learning perspective, this is good for you to hear. My first hurdle was these big companies, right? They had the money, but they didn't have the ability to spend it. They all work on budgets. So when I went into them and said, hey, I'm doing this new thing, I'm building websites. They had already heard about websites and they wanted it. They didn't even know what it was, but they knew they needed it. It was cutting edge, but they had no budget for it. So what I knew about them from me being in their market for so long, I knew they had petty cash budgets. So I said, here's what I'll do for you. I understand you don't have a budget for a website. I'll build the website for you for free. You have to host it with me. And I said, the hosting is going to be between $200 and $500 a month. So that was in their petty cash budget I could tap into. So here I'm building, like, from 1995 to 97, I built 3 to 5 sites a week, adding $200 to $500 a month to my income. And at the end of that, like the end of that 2-year spree, I had built sites for all of those customers. I had replaced what I was about to lose. So I made the transition without skipping a beat. And for the first time ever, I had recurring income that I didn't have to physically work to get. Because in the studio, either you're working or you're not, you're getting paid or you're not, right? No, they're not paying you to just sit in a studio and wait for them. They're paying you by project. But with their website, they're paying you by the month, regardless of what happens. So it was the first time ever in my life that I had true recurring income. And I sat back and I came to this realization, and I told my wife, I'm like, you know what? At this point, I really don't have to work anymore. I said, I'm going to make the same amount of money if I'm sitting here working at my desk or if we're on a cruise ship. So we spent 6 weeks that year on a cruise ship.
Well, my wife is like, if you can't figure out how to make money, you're going back to another job. So
Yeah, and I would claw my way out of any box to make sure that didn't happen. But that is how I did that. I looked at the market, I saw what was changing, I took advantage of it, and then I spent like almost a full year just playing, just wallowing in the fun that I'd created for myself. And then I came back to work and I thought, okay, new opportunity. I've got all these people with all these websites. Now what can I do with them? And it was SEO. And back then we didn't even know what to call it. I knew how to do it. And I went into them, and this was my sales presentation. When I went into them, I said, I need to come in and explain what you have here. So I told them about their website. I said, what this is a digital brochure, because they really didn't get it. No one really knew anything about the whole online thing at that point. They knew it was cool. They knew they needed it. It was cutting edge, but they didn't understand it. So I explained it in a way that they got it. I said, this is an electronic brochure. I said, you know how good a brochure would work if you left it in the box after it got printed, right? You slid it under your desk and forgot about it. Well, that's what you've done with your website. So it's not working very well for you. The only way it's going to work is if you take it out of the box and you put it in the hands of the right people. That's what's going to make your phone ring. That's what's going to generate revenue from you. And you're going to be so far ahead of your competitors because they haven't figured that out yet. That was how I sold SEO. And I had a damn near 100% close ratio on that because they understood it. I said it in a way they got it and they wanted it. So I built a massive SEO company at that point. So now I got my hosting company, I got my website company, now I've got an SEO company. And it just kept compounding one right after another. And advanced that up to about 2010, I did some consulting for Perry Belcher and Ryan Dice. And they said, dude, you need to share this with people. You need to train people how to do this. And that's when I made the transition to teaching people how to do SEO, which at a certain point when it got to user experience, that is SEO now. It's user experience. It's Google has got an AI that is analyzing everything that everyone does. And that's how it's figuring out what site's going to belong at the top. So when that transition happened, I shifted gears from teaching SEO to teaching marketing, which is really what is driving SEO now. And that was where I developed the ACT program. I went back to what I knew from the ad agencies, really thought about what I had learned back then and put it into what I'm teaching now. And that's where we are today.
Great
So-
story. It helps orient me too. What's the name of your company so I can reach out?
It's internetdominators.com.
Oh, the same as this one. Okay.
Yeah, that's the company name.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Suzanne. You just got to unmute there.
Okay, John, I'm back. Okay, my first question to you is, I'm a network marketer. I
Yeah.
do really well face-to-face with people. I mean, it's like, and they get me right now, okay?
Yeah.
I'm unalignable. It's a different space than what I'm used to, okay?
Mhm.
Does your program work for network marketers?
It absolutely does.
Okay,
So the cool thing, what you just said was it works for you face to face.
yeah,
What that tells me is you already know the content. You already know how to present. You already know what your funnel is and needs to be. And what I tell a lot of people this in a lot of different markets and segments, I say, if you have something that works in the real world, that will work in the online space as well, and you can automate it. I also tell them on the flip side of the coin, if you have got something that doesn't work in the real world, I can guarantee you it's not going to work in the online space.
so I just need to figure out what I do in the real world and get it on.
Exactly.
Okay, now, are you familiar with network marketing?
Absolutely.
They have just changed their website, which in my estimation throws everybody for a loop. Okay, so hey, I don't know. Network marketing is like 6 months old to me. I just know I got a product that is over the top awesome.
Okay.
And it
Can I-
works.
Can I save you a tremendous amount of heartache?
Okay, go.
I would love to. And this is for everyone. In an MLM scenario, they're recruiting you to be a salesperson.
Uh-huh.
It's not your company, it's not your product. You really are just a salesperson for that company. Nothing wrong with that. There's no shame whatsoever in that. Salespeople traditionally are the highest paid people on the planet because of the skill set. So when an internet marketing company can find someone that actually knows how to sell their product, that's like gold to them. But that doesn't mean they're going to treat you any better necessarily. You are one of many for them. And I know they're going to try and make you think otherwise, but it's not true. You are one of a million people selling their stuff. So the other thing that I'll also tell you about them is they change gears, like you might have just experienced it. They'll change their offers. They'll change everything at a whim, not caring about what it does to any of their salespeople. They churn at such a high rate. And I don't mean to put the company down or anything. This is just an industry standard. I've seen this for 30 years. 30 years of experience of working with people that work with them. I've even tried it myself, and I've been burned every time. And I know you're in a space right now where you're really excited about it and you think this is going to last forever, but it's not.
Okay. Let me let me tell you something, John. Okay. I'm going to go back and look at your story 2 weeks ago, the health supplement that whatever they did, because that's where I am, because what I've got is stem cell patches. Okay.
No, I get it. But my point was just the MLM market in general, nothing to do with your particular product.
Okay.
So just let me finish this and then we'll go back to that.
Okay.
So what you want to do, you need to protect yourself.
Okay.
Because again, it's not your company, it's not your product. What if all of a sudden, what if you spent the next 5 years building this business? What they have told you is a business. It's not. You're just a salesperson. So what if you spend the next 5 years of your life building this? You give up everything else, right? This is your thing and it's making you a bunch of money.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, FDA comes in, says, that's illegal. You can't sell that anymore. And the company folds up. They took all your leads. You don't own the list. You don't own the leads. You don't even know how to contact any of the people that you've built over the last 5 years.
Uh,
Don't tell me this is not possible. Because I have seen it over and over and over. And it doesn't matter if it's stem cell or dog collars.
Okay,
So you need to protect yourself.
and how do I do that?
You want to build a company. You want to build your company, not their company. You want to build your company. So if you're in the health arena and that's your product, that's fine. But build your company. And now that becomes a referral product for you that you're not dependent on. So when you are generating leads, you don't want to be sending them to their lead generation page. Not first. You want to send them to your own. You want to build your own list. That's yours.
Okay,
You are now the guru, the whatever you want to call yourself. You are a health master. I don't know the terminology for that, but you are the one. So you specialize in XYZ. That's why people are coming to you. That's why you're attracting to them to you. And you build a list, which a list is a business. You're building that for yourself. You own it. Once they're in your list, now it's your job to become the one that they look up to. They're coming to you as an expert. You're the expert in this field, right? So you give them free training, free information, you educate them, and then you make recommendations, right? You're the expert. You're going to refer them. You're going to say, based on your situation, if this, I would use these stem cell patches. These things work great. Here's a company that you can get them from. You're removing yourself out of their failure. Let's say that person has a bad reaction to that stem cell. It's not on you, it's on that company, right? You're going to generate the same amount of money. If you're good at selling, you're going to generate the same amount of money, but you own the list. If the company goes out of business, you still retain the list.
okay.
Now, before they do go out of business, you want to make sure that you've got 10 of them. You don't want to refer everybody to one thing. Then you're a one-trick pony. There's not much value in a one-trick pony. You want to be the expert in this field. And you want to seek out all the things that the people in your group could potentially need or want. And now you say, okay, Tuesday, I'm doing a masterclass on weight loss. Wednesday, I'm doing a masterclass on eliminating headaches. Thursday, I'm doing a masterclass on back pain. Friday, I'm doing a masterclass on how to prevent knee surgery.
I could do all that.
Yeah, I know you can.
Okay, because okay, my life experiences have taught me how to do that.
But do you see the difference in you building your own business versus being a salesperson that's expendable?
Yeah, because I educate people all the time on what they need to do above and beyond the patches.
Yes. And then you plug all those other products in. So if one of them goes away, it's water off your back.
Oh, thank you. Aha.
They didn't steal 5 years of your life and leave you with nothing, because that's what will happen. And they don't care. Guaranteed.
Well, how do I want to say Canada? Okay, long story made short, that's lockdown garbage. Canada shut down all the distributors. This company stepped in and made up their income for them.
But I
Because
guarantee
Canada shut them down.
you could see that as a very positive light, as they were your savior. But I guarantee you, they didn't do it to save you. They did it to fill their pocketbook
Okay, all right.
with corporate
You've
work.
been there, John. I haven't. So
Oh yeah, I mean, corporate does nothing without the intent of filling their pocketbook. That's why they're there. That's how they work. I guarantee you.
okay.
They put a wrapper on it that they're good for the earth and they're good for the environment and they're good for people and all that. But I guarantee you, they don't do anything that doesn't fill their pocketbook.
Okay, well, I think I understand. Okay, their new website that they went to, and I'm 6 months old in this, I think just killed how people are making over the top maximizing profits.
Yeah, because it's going out of their pocketbook, not coming in.
Okay, are you familiar with the trick with the legs and you place
Oh,
it here and there and whatever? I
Yeah.
think the new website they just put up just killed that process.
Yeah, and do you think that was good for the salespeople?
No.
Well, there
Okay.
you go.
Okay, so I'm on the right track then. Okay.
Yeah, you just need to look at it as a different kind of thing. That's not your business. You need to form your own business, and that's just a product that you refer to.
Okay.
Look at yourself as an affiliate marketer. You will make so much more money, and you'll build an indestructible business that way, versus just being a tool that they can throw in the garbage bin like a used rag when they're done with it.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't want that for anyone.
Thank you, John. Okay. Now, okay. Okay. So I'll stay with you. I'll just have once a month. I can't get in here because of the hair cutting appointments. So,
No, if I can save anybody some pain, I'm going to do it.
thank you. I appreciate that. Okay.
Absolutely. And I know you thought that was just for you, but that's for anyone in MLM. There's a ton of MLM opportunities out there, and they are opportunities, no doubt about it. Any place where you can make some money is an opportunity, but don't go into it with the delusion that this is a business and it's your business, because it's not. You're just a salesperson for another company.
Okay. How do I want to say? I will take and run with the life experience that I have and use this as an adjunct, a side.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's just a product that you endorse.
Okay.
You become the celebrity, you become the expert, and this is a product that you endorse.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And you can do trainings, you can do master classes, you can show them how to solve their problems, and then that's the problem. That's the solution that you refer them to.
I give away information all the time about how to do this, I mean, I've got so many tricks of how to stay out of a headache, and it's simple. It's just like, boom, and you're out of a headache. And I do it with people online all the time. It's like, so why not?
Yeah, but build your own business. Make no mistake about it. You need to build your business, not theirs.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Use them as a tool, just like they're using all their salespeople as a tool.
Okay. Got it.
That's the difference between an employee and a business owner. You have to switch the mindset. If you want to be successful, you need to become a business owner.
I have been a business owner before. It's painful. I don't want employees.
Well, it's painful. If it was, my dad always told me, if something's difficult, you're not doing it right.
Well, how I would say, I love my business. I love my employees. They made money and I was just kind of surviving. Okay.
Yeah. And that's not right.
Yeah. And I did it for 5 years. And how do I want to say? I was in automotive repair, which is not the typical field for a woman. And it was fun. It was a blast. I got the education of my life. I worked with the best mechanics. I know how to work my way around the shop and know whether they're giving me a line of BS or whatever. So it's very educational. But, you know, there's only so long you can live on air.
Yeah. Yep. But again, it comes back to that's a dysfunction of a business. If the owner is not making, the lion's share of the money, that's the problematic.
Yeah, agreed.
That's definitely some sort of a business function that's out of whack.
Say yes.
The way I look at a business, like a lot of people start businesses, and what happens is they came out of a day job, right? The day job, they worked 40 hours a week. They got paid every Friday. They had benefits. They got so many weeks of your vacation off, right? And they hate it. They can't stand their life, right? But then they open a business and everything's great. They work 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
They get no time off and they get no paycheck on Friday and they have no benefits and they love it. You know what it is that they love about it?
It's an adrenaline rush.
No, you know why they do it. The core reason of why they would do that.
Freedom.
You got it. It's the freedom. The freedom is the shining light at the end of the tunnel that every entrepreneur and business owner will run for. They want it so bad they can taste it. They would die for it, but they get killed in the process.
Yeah.
99 times out of 100.
Right.
Because they don't know business. All they know is they know how to show up for a job and do what they're told. And business is not difficult, but you have to know it. And if you don't know it and you go and you try and do it and you keep stumbling and falling and not learning how to do it properly, you're going to keep banging your head until you can't bang it anymore. And then you're going to go right back to that day job.
Not me. I don't want a day job. No way.
But that's why, I tell everybody, marketing, what you're going to learn from me here is going to be the most valuable skill set you're ever going to own. And you can take it with you your entire life, and you can take it to any situation. You'll know how to look for opportunities that are real opportunities, and you'll know how to develop them and turn them into money. Right? That's what marketing is. Now, you could be a really good salesperson. Sounds like you are. If you're a really good salesperson, you can make a ton of money without any marketing, without any business skills. People pay you a lot to sell their stuff because they don't know how to do it or they don't want to. Salespeople, like I said earlier, are traditionally the highest paid people on the planet because businesses need them. The whole core of a business is to move merchandise. They have to sell their stuff. And typically business owners aren't good at that. They're not. That's why they have to go to ad agencies. That's why they have to hire salespeople. That's why they have to do all this stuff. And they're smart for doing that because what a business owner should do, where a business owner should spend their time, is where they get the highest and best use of that time. And it's usually not turning nuts and bolts because anyone can do that. A business owner learns systems. They train people on systems so they don't have to do the stuff they don't want to do that makes money. Right? They create systems. Like Ray Kroc didn't flip burgers. He flipped burgers to figure out a system that he could build an empire off of, right? He didn't go into business to flip burgers. He went into business to develop systems that could go worldwide. So that's what you do as a business owner. You look for opportunities that require little to no of your time. Little to none. Or you can plug people in because if you look at the world population, the people that are really cut out to be business owners is very thin. You're not trained on it. You're not taught it. You're not brought up that way. You go to school, you spend X amount of years of your life being taught not to be a business owner. School teaches you how to be a good employee. They show you how to show up on time. They show you how to do repetitive shit that you hate. They show you how to fit into this box and never want to look outside.
I hated school.
Oh, I did too. It was not for me. I guarantee you, like when I hear somebody that says, yeah, I'm going to go to a trade school and learn how to do this thing so I can have a career. I'm just like, oh my God, stop. You could go to a weekend seminar and learn how to do a career and be making money on Monday morning. Like seriously. It's just frightens the shit out of me to even think that way. But you know, and I don't want to make anybody feel bad or beat a dead horse or anything like that, but this is the truth. Freedom is what drives business owners, and either they figure it out or they don't, and that's going to determine the rest of their life. That's going to determine if they go back in the employee box or they actually become successful. Because there's no in between, but there's a long road in between. Like the longer you struggle as a business owner without figuring it out, the longer you're prolonging the pain before you go back into the box. You know, if you look at, I use this as one of my big ideas on the front end to grab people's attention. And I do this for people that are just starting businesses, and I'm grabbing their attention with a frightening fact. And it comes right out of Forbes magazine, which comes from Bloomberg. It's a very credible source, you know, my claim proof benefit formula. So the claim is 80% of businesses are going to fail in 18 months. That's my claim, because everybody that starts a business, they don't think they're going to fail. Right? So I'm bringing them a frightening statistic. 80% are going to fail the first 18 months. And then if I didn't cut them deep enough on that, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to twist the knife. I'm going to say, you know, if you talk to Tony Robbins, he's another pretty credible source for business platforms. He says it's even worse. He says if you're willing to push it out a little further, 96% are going to fail. If you give them 10 years, 96% will fail.
I made it 5.
Yeah. And I asked him, I said, you know, what would it look like? What would your life look like if you spent 10 years and failed? I mean, what would that look like? That would be disastrous. You would not just be broke. You would not have spent the last 10 years of your life just to become broke. That's the least of your problem. You are now broken. Your spirit is broken. Broke is easy to fix. You can always make money. But I guarantee you break your spirit, that's hard to repair. That is devastating. So I asked him, I said, hey, you know, do you want to spend 10 years? No. Do you want to spend 18 months? I don't. I'll make a business fail in 5 minutes. Literally, I will crush a business in 5 minutes and be on to the next one. I won't spend more than 5 minutes. Not now that I know. 5 minutes is the maximum amount of time I will invest in a business, and I'll either crush it or it'll win. And I crush it with that first step of the ACT program. Is it a profitable market? Is there a profitable segment that I can pull money out of? And if it doesn't fit, I'm done. I've failed. I've failed thousands of businesses. They ask, you know, how many businesses have you failed at? I've failed at thousands of them. I didn't spend 10 years doing it though. I took 5 minutes each. And what that allowed me to do was that allowed me to create success after success after success. You didn't see the thousands of failures because they were gone before anybody knew it. I'll literally sit in my jacuzzi at night thinking about stuff, and I'll fail 10 businesses a night. You know, I'll literally stay in there till I either fall asleep or I find one that's worth getting out for.
But you develop the framework to do that in your head, so it happens automatically.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about. When you get this skill set, that's what you're all going to have. You will have the ability to do that. Anything that you do repetitiously, it becomes a process where you don't have to think about it anymore. You know, I know all this stuff looks complicated right now because it's new, but almost everything I teach you is in a simple 3-step thing. Almost everything. Very few things are outside of 3 steps. You know, the sales funnel is 4. That's grab attention, create demand and desire, eliminate objections, and make an offer. That's the most complicated thing I got. So there should be some comfort in that because everything is there. I've gone back and, you know, Sue, I don't know if some of you guys know Sue Brook. She was one of the first people that bought the ACT program. I sold it as a live course, I don't know, probably a long time ago, probably 8 to 10 years ago. I sold it as a live course. 65 people bought it. The majority of them spent $2,000 on it. I put them in a room in a live event and spent 2 days teaching it to them. And I thought, I mean, I could literally see the light bulbs going off. Every one of them, 65 people in the room, they all sat down thinking they had a great business. And by the end of the first hour, every one of them realized they were going to fail. Every one. 65 out of 65 knew what they learned from me in that first couple hours. They knew they were done. They also knew how to fix it. So, I mean, I could see the excitement. I could see the light bulbs. It was very exciting for me to be able to do that, to be able to hand them that kind of power. And it went on for 2 days. I felt so good about it. I was like ready to sell this thing to the world. And I kind of, you know, I went on doing stuff and I was getting ready to do the next rollout. And I thought, okay, for me to do the next rollout, I need testimonials. So I'm going to go back to those 65 people and interview them and find out, you know, what did it do for them? How are they better now than when they started? And it shocked me to find out that not one person did anything. I felt like a failure. I'm like, I can't sell this. I don't want to sell this. It doesn't work. And in my head, I'm thinking, it does work. What the hell? Where did I go wrong? So I put out to the group, I said, I am willing, I want to fix this. I'm willing to take 6 of you at no cost to you, and I will work with you for 1 year to make this work for you. I want to see where you're failing. I want to see what I need to do to make this work for you. And I had like 12 people just about came unglued wanting in on that. So I took all 12 of them. And I spent an entire year with 12 people rebuilding the ACT program. And that's where all the formulas came from. Because when I was originally telling them how to do this stuff, I was doing it intuitively from what I do. But I didn't know they couldn't make the gaps. They couldn't jump the gaps. And it was from my experience. So I had to unravel that. I had to unpack all that. It took a year for them to unpack everything that was in my head and figure out how do you get from here to there? We see you do it, but we don't know how to do that. That's where all the little formulas came from. It's like, okay, well, here's the mechanical steps of how I do that. I had to really think back because I hadn't thought about that stuff in years. I just did it. You know, it's like sitting in the hot tub, breaking businesses every 5 minutes. It's like, what am I doing to do that? I didn't know. So it took these 12 people, and Sue Brick was one of them. She's like got a school teaching background. 3 of them actually had school teaching backgrounds. And one of them, the 4th one, he had like high level education schooling background. And they were able to show me how to teach what it was that I knew. So that's how this thing came to be what it is now. And, you know, you guys get a massive benefit from the work, the hard work that we did, the 12 of us, well, 13 with me included, to unpack all that and create this thing. And that's what you have access to. So it's just a matter of, you know, are you going to learn it? Are you going to master it? Are you going to use it? That's really all there is to it. Or, you know, you can hire someone to do that. You can go to an ad agency and they literally charge tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what this is. And it ain't that hard. I guarantee you there's nothing I'm going to teach you that's beyond 3rd grade math. Nothing. Because I don't know anything beyond that. Well, that's a stretch, but you get the point, right? Nothing that I've ever shared on any of my calls have anything to do with anything technical. It's all common sense and basic stuff. But it's the formulas. It's the way you put it together. It's the system. You miss a piece and it doesn't work. You know, it's like a puzzle. You leave a piece out of the puzzle, it's not finished. You can't hang it on the wall. You know, you can't put the glue behind it and make it look pretty. You've got to put all the pieces in, and they have to all be in the right order, or you failed. So, and that's what I keep on showing up here every week to make sure your pieces are all moving in the right direction. So, Rashid, go ahead.
Well, first and foremost, Suzette, I want to back up everything John said. You're looking at a 40, almost 50-year veteran of network marketing, multi-level marketing, with nothing to show for it, because companies that I work with change the comp plans, they'll change this, they'll change that, and everything that you built for is gone. Because including a company that decided they didn't want to do it in network marketing way anymore and sold it to another company who went the traditional marketing way. And all the Salesforce or the IBOs, independent business owners, were no longer independent business owners. They were unemployed salespeople. So yeah, there's a lot of truth to what John was saying about network marketing. Been there, done that. And you probably heard the saying, but been there, done that, got a t-shirt for sure. Yep. Having said that, John, you just opened up a new bucket for me.
Uh-oh.
How do I reach the burned out network marketers like myself and teach them how to take what they have learned and help other people that are under the delusion?
Okay, let me share a little secret with you.
Okay.
Do you know where the majority of money is made in MLM marketing? The majority. It's not made by the salespeople.
No, it's done by the so-called leadership selling their shit.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
There's another tier in there. It's the most money, the maximum amount of money made in MLM is made from the people selling training to the MLMers.
Right. That's what I meant when I said that the top leaders selling their shit to their other people.
Well, no, that's more at the company level.
Right. Okay.
I'm talking about third-party people coming.
Gotcha. Randy Gage and Jim Rohn.
Yeah, outside the company selling training to the MLMers,
Yes.
showing them how to do it. But I guarantee you, none of them are showing you what I just told you. They're
No.
not telling you to go off on your
Mm.
own, build your own company, build your own identity, build your
No.
own brand.
No,
And then you've got 10 different sales channels.
right.
That's a smart way to do it. You want to build an empire, you build it under your own name, not somebody else's. And as you know, if you look at the levels of entrepreneurship, the levels of business owner, the higher you get, the more they have empire in mind. They're thinking, you know, grandeur. They're not thinking just get by. Nobody opens a business just to get by, right? If you want to just get by, just take all the headache out of that and just go work for somebody. But if you want something better, you know, if you really want to build a life for yourself, a business is the only thing that's going to do that. You know, I learned that at 8 years old. And I don't know if some of you guys probably haven't heard this story, and it's probably worth me telling it again. My dad was an electrical engineer for McDonnell Douglas. He worked every day, 35 years. He got up, he went to the same place. That was my role model, right? That was what I got to see. And, he provided for us. He was never out of work. He worked for 35 years straight. Never a sick day. He never got sick. He went to work, right? That's what I got to see. We did a lot of cool stuff. He made good money. We never wanted for anything. We did, vacations, all that stuff. I had a great childhood, right? I don't have those terrible stories that most people have. I just don't have them, right? I didn't grow up like that. And, some people would say you were lucky. No, it's just different. It doesn't have anything to do with why I turned out the way I did. It was from what he told me when I was 8 years old. That is what did it. We were in, my dad and my grandfather, they went in partners on a little boat. They had a little 16-foot wooden boat, and they loved to fish. They went out and they fished, like, not every weekend, but almost every weekend. I got old enough to go with them. So I'm going out on this little wooden boat, and we went out through Newport every week, or again, not every week, but you get the idea. And I was about 8 years old when I first really got the contrast of the little wooden tub that we were sitting in and these big, beautiful sport fishers all over this harbor. And I asked my dad, I said, Dad, why don't we have one of those? Those are really cool. And I'm looking at a 50-foot sport fisher. Like, how come we don't have one of those? And you know what he told me? He said, because I have a job. And I was like, I didn't even know what to think. I was just like floored. I'm like, I thought you got a job. Up to that point, I thought you got a job and you worked hard so you could have nice stuff, right? That was my world. And I looked to him for how he was providing it. But in that second, when he said that, it destroyed everything good I had ever believed in. And I'm like, you mean those people don't have jobs? And he said, no, they have businesses. That was it. That's why I've never had a job. I've never even been able to have a job. Me and my brother, we did stuff. We were kind of cut from the same cloth as far as that goes, that freedom thing. And 8 years old was when I started my first business. Shortly after that. And I learned that I could have anything I wanted because of the keys to the kingdom my dad had just handed me. And basically, when I was 15 years old, me and my brother, we started a fairly large business, a larger business where we actually had to go open a shop, and we were building fiberglass parts. And here at 15 years old, I'm probably making well over $100 an hour, well over. And we're talking about like 1979 here. That was a shitload of money. So here I'm, a sophomore in high school. I don't even know if I was a sophomore. I think I was a freshman. and I'm making $100 an hour, right? Or more. And all of a sudden I turned 16. My friends turned 16 and they all start getting jobs at fast food and they're making $1.35 an hour. And for some reason, I still to this day have no clue what it was that made me think that was cool. But I wanted to go be with my friends. So I told my brother, he goes, I'm going to go apply. I want to go work with so-and-so. And he's like, did you bump your head? And I said, no. I go, I'm not giving up on you. I'll be back. And I went and I applied to every fast food restaurant within 10 miles and nobody would hire me. I could not get a job to save my life. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking McDonald's hires the handicap, for Christ's sake. What are they saying to me? What is going on? And again, this was another thing that just solidified for me. I don't need this. I don't need somebody telling me what my livelihood is going to look like. I don't need somebody telling me whether I can work or not. And I've never even given it a second thought. It's not even an option in my head. There's nothing I believe could make me even want to think about trying to get a job. So that was my rough childhood, learning those lessons. So, and I believe that you could give those same lessons to any kid of that age, and I think they would learn the same thing. They would learn to be self-sufficient. They would learn nothing's going to stop them. They would learn they can have anything they want. They just got to figure it out. So, wow, that was a pretty high soapbox I just fell off of. I don't know how we even got onto that, but that's what got me here.
Yep. Well, got to start somewhere, right?
Dude, that was epic.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for it. I can't imagine wanting to be anywhere else but where I am. Right now I'm sitting on a 55-foot sport fisher, very similar to the one I asked my dad, why don't we have one of those? That's where I am today. You got the harbor right behind me here. So,
And that's your home, right?
no, that's just my toy.
Oh, okay.
I live in a beautiful house in Huntington Beach. I've got 2 of them. But this is where I like to be. This is my freedom.
Yep.
And Elon Musk has allowed me an extra layer of freedom because I have Starlink on the boat, so I can go anywhere and I can still connect with you guys. Helene, go ahead.
John, that was an interesting story. I listened to your talk with Sue Brook yesterday, and I realized I really, really have to change my website. So I went and looked at all the other websites because that's something you suggested I should do.
Sure.
I need something in my banner that will grab attention, as you said.
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you what I've invented this cream that stops pain and itch better than anything else on the market. I know that. I've tested it and I've done research on it. But I'm a doctor. I do research. I'm not a salesperson. And I need your idea on how can I grab attention with it's a unique ingredient because I've invented it. It works better than anything else, and it works faster than anything else to relieve pain and itch. But how do I put that in to grab attention?
That's going to be the big idea. It's plain and simple. It's 3 steps. Big idea is the promise, the unique delivery mechanism, which that's your product.
Yeah.
The promise is, relieve itch and pain, right?
Okay.
So your promise is pretty clear. Your unique delivery mechanism is pretty clear. The third piece to that is saying it in a unique, compelling way, intellectually interesting, that they haven't heard before.
Yes, that's where I need your help.
So that's really all it is. And and this goes for everybody thinks they need a new website, right? And you're probably right, but you can't get a new website without getting the content for it. It's not the website, it's not the framework. That's not the part that's not working. It's the messaging. So pump the brakes on everybody that thinks they need a new website. What you really need is you need new messaging. When you get the messaging right, that's when you need a web developer to put it out on a website for you, right? Anything else, and you're burning money and time. You know, I see so many people say, I got to have a website. I'm like, well, what's your content? Well, I don't have any content. You don't need a website then. What you need, all you need at that point is a coming soon. Don't spend a bunch of money on a coming soon site. Spend the money and the time figuring out, how are you going to sell this product? What is the website going to do for you? If you want the website to sell your stuff, then you need the messaging first. Websites do not sell stuff. It's messaging that sells stuff. The website can deliver the message. You know, web developer doesn't do that.
I've given you the message. And I want to have something that will show that message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you've got the messaging, then that's the point where you're ready for a website.
Because I know that I have a unique ingredient that stops pain and itch faster and better than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I need an image. I need something that's going to get that across.
Yeah, you need the whole sales funnel. You don't just need the front end piece, though. Remember, like, what is that going to lead them to? You need the system. You need the whole. It's a marketing campaign, really, is what you need. And it starts with grabbing the attention, and then, but it doesn't end there. You still have to create the demand and desire. You need to figure out, what is the sales process? Like Suzanne was saying, I know how to sell this thing. If you get me face to face, I can sell it. So you need to break that down. What is that process? What do you do to sell it? Because you have to convey the information. You're probably really good at this too. You just haven't really put it together in a sequence. So you need to convey the information, creating the demand and the desire. I know you know how it works. You can tell them that. That will convince their head, you know, the seduce the heart, convince the head part. You will be really good at this. You just have to do it. Once you do that, you identify any potential objections. You know, like side effects might be an objection. So you need to address that. You need to eliminate
Side effects.
There you go. See, that just because it doesn't have side effects doesn't mean it's not going to be an objection. They might be thinking, God, if I put that on my skin, what could happen? Right? That's an objection. Even if it's not spoken, you still need to address it, eliminate it. I think you already do that, so that's good. But I'm just giving you this as examples. You need to figure out all the objections so you can eliminate them before your offer. And then you need to make an offer. You know, what is an irresistible offer? And, you know, there's a bunch of pieces to that. There's a whole lesson on just making the offer. Once you have all that stuff in place, then you can build it. You can automate it into a mechanical sequence that's delivered through your website.
What's the name of a good web builder?
You mean like a developer?
Somebody who can build me something that I can present to the world.
Well, my team can build anything you want. That's not a problem. It's the contents put in. That's your marketing campaign. That's really what you need to build. So you either go to an ad agency that knows how to do that could build that for you. They're very expensive because they know the value of it. or you can learn it here. You can do it yourself. You can do it, with me. I've got people that I've trained on this that can do it, but I can almost guarantee you nobody's going to know the stuff like you do. This isn't that hard. And I know I did this for years. I told myself I was not a good salesperson, so I didn't have to do it. Right? It's a self-protection mechanism that you build around yourself. And you tell you tell yourself lies. Like, it's not that I'm not a good salesperson. I could probably sell anything to anybody if I wanted to do that. I just don't want to. So for years, I prevented myself from having to do that by telling myself I'm not a good salesperson. I did the same thing, saying I'm not a good copywriter. Not because I'm not, it's because I don't like it. I don't like to sit and write stuff. That's like being in school. I don't like that. The truth is, I'm probably the best copywriter you're ever going to find. But could you hire me to do it because I don't like to do it? Probably couldn't afford that. Because for me to do something I'm not going to like to do, I'm not going to do that cheap. Right? So you're probably doing the same thing. You're telling yourself you're not good at stuff because you don't like to do it. But the truth is, this is not easy. This is going to take you some time, and it's not going to be the most enjoyable thing. But if you look at the outcome, is the juice worth the squeeze? This is going to be the best juice you've ever tasted. I guarantee you create a marketing campaign that sells like hotcakes on autopilot, that'll be the best juice you've ever had in your life. And you're going to want more of it.
My problem with my website is that it reads like a scientific paper, and I need something that actually creates demand and desire rather than eliminates objections. So
Yeah.
I know what you're saying is just, and I've got any number of testimonials on my website. I've got loads and loads of testimonials, and so that's not the problem. The
Yeah.
problem is
Problem is marketing.
putting it in a way that people will understand and want, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Rashid,
Helene, what's your website?
Website is qrcream.com.
QR Cream.
.com.
Okay. As in letter Q, letter R,
Yeah,
cream.com.
yeah. It's like quick relief or cure.
Okay.
Cure.
Gotcha. QRcream.com. Okay. I'll take a look at it. I like to write. I wouldn't say I love to write. I'm a creative writer, so let me look at it and see if I have ideas.
Well, thank you, Rashid. I appreciate everybody's help.
It's a pleasure.
yeah, Rashid's getting good at this. He's been working with me on my apprentice level, so I've been helping him one-on-one, figure this stuff out. It's an incredibly valuable skill set to learn. Whether you learn it on your own or you work one-on-one with me to learn it at a higher level, no matter how you get it, it's something you're going to want. Definitely. All right, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, I'm sitting on a big sport fishing yacht. How much better could I be?
So I kind of have the similar to the same problem that she have. Now, my website, as far as feedback, everybody saying my website is great. But I think it's my messaging and my I'm not grabbing
Yeah.
the attention of.
The other thing too is be careful who you get feedback from. Like if you ask your friends and family, hey, what do you think of my website? They're all going to tell you it's great.
Yeah. But no, I've gotten it from like coaches and, people that, like they doing SEO or whatever, and then I have them look at it and then they'll say, oh, you have a great website. but
Yeah. But what they don't realize is they don't really know what a great website is. That was my whole point. A great website engages, it builds a list, and it sells stuff. It works.
right. So mine ain't great because it's not working. I mean, and like I said, I don't really know because I'm like really like I launched in August, right? So I don't know if I'm being eager, if it's just not working, or you know what I'm saying. So I'm
Sure.
at that stage.
And when you say you launched, launch can mean different things to different people. Like a launch could mean the website went live.
Mhm,
That doesn't necessarily mean anything's going to happen.
right.
When you put a website live, that just means it's publicly visible. People could get to it if they knew it was there, or if you're on the top of search, if they're searching for it, they can find it. That's not really like a launch. A launch is a choreographed event where you're doing stuff to specifically drive traffic to create anticipation, and then all of a sudden the gates open and now they can all get in.
Yes, that's what happened.
A
So
launch is like,
I did a physical launch. I did it's like I did a pop-up shop actually,
okay.
which was
So,
my launch.
so then,
And that's when I introduced my product to the world, right?
so at that point you look at, okay, how many people saw it? How many people actually showed up? And how many sales happened at the end? And then you can start chipping back. You can say, okay, well, I didn't get any sales. How many people watched the presentation till the end? Well, if nobody watched the presentation to the end, how many people signed up to watch the presentation? How many people showed up to watch the presentation? And then how long did they watch it before they dropped out? And you find your bottlenecks. You go back and you have to find the bottlenecks. If let's say 1,000 people showed up and nobody opted in, all that tells you is, okay, well, that's just my friends and family. It's not really prospects. That's what that would indicate. This is people you got to say, oh, yeah, I'll show up. A lot of people will do stuff if you ask them to. It doesn't mean it's actually a prospect for you. And it doesn't mean it's a convertible opportunity for you to create a customer.
And that's what happened because a lot of my friends and family showed up. I did a lot of sales through them.
Okay.
And now after that, right, it's like, okay, now I'm in hustle mode.
Yeah. That's almost like that's a false sense of security. That's like your security blanket wrapped you and made you feel good temporarily.
Right.
That's what that was. But if you want to actually scale a business, you have to figure out how to sell your stuff to cold traffic, not warm traffic. Warm traffic is it's a false sense of security. You want to create that though. You want to build your list. You want to have a massive list so you've got that security blanket around you. So hey, anytime I want, I can go throw up one of the pop-up sales and boom, I can make money. But you also need to look at, how do I keep that list being built? How do I keep that security blanket wrapped around me? And the only way you can do that is by converting cold traffic into prospects, leads, and sales. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and it almost always will come down to your messaging. It's either your messaging or your traffic. If you know the product sells, and you know that the messaging sells, you've got the first two pieces, then it's a traffic problem.
And how do I fix the traffic problem? Working with you?
Well, traffic is, you get traffic from different traffic sources. Like you might find if your traffic is searching for you, then SEO might be a good option. Pay-per-click might be a good option. If your traffic is on Facebook, then targeting on Facebook and running Facebook ads might be a good option. If your target market is like do-it-yourselfers, YouTube is phenomenal. Everybody goes to YouTube to find out how to do stuff. So YouTube advertising, your your target market might be visiting certain websites. So banner ads could be really effective on those websites.
So
you
I
just-
did, let me ask your opinion about this. I did a video, right, on Valentine's Day. It's like a little promotion I did. I got 28,000 views,
okay.
but maybe about a couple of likes and no call to action.
Okay. Did you have a call to action in the video?
Yes.
And they just didn't take it?
Mhm.
Okay, so either it was the wrong audience or it was the wrong message. There was a clear mismatch right there.
Okay.
It might have been you just didn't have a big idea to really grab their attention to get them to take the action. But that is a clear, cut and dry mismatch of market and message, because that's your point of failure. So you have to take a real good look at that. You look at, okay, who saw the message? Is that the right people to have shown this message to? And if it was the right people, then you look at the message and you say, clearly this is not what they wanted. So that goes back to your avatar, understanding what they want, why they want it. So it's almost like it's science, but it's not. Or maybe it is. I don't know. It's like math, 1 + 1 is going to equal 2 every time. So if you go 1 plus an unknown amount isn't necessarily going to always equal 2. So you just have to get the math right. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
But you can always find, if you look for the point of failure, that's where your break is. And then you look at, okay, why did it break? Was it not the right people, or was it not the right message? Because clearly it was one or the other or both. And a lot of times you can answer these questions pretty intuitively. A lot of times just a little bit of common sense and you've got your answer. So. All right, Shelley, you've got your hand up there.
Okay, so when you were talking with Helene about her miracle cream,
Yeah.
you talked, yeah, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, you were talking about the promise in your message, your promise, the delivery mechanism, and saying it in a compelling way. So the second one, the delivery mechanism. I mean, I understand for the cream because the cream is actually the mechanism that delivers the results. What
Yes.
about a program?
What you want to do, it's a unique delivery mechanism. So it's not just a program. Like in my case, the unique delivery mechanism to get you business results is the ACT marketing protocol.
Okay.
And the reason that it has to be unique is because if you just say, oh, well, it's a marketing course, what the person is going to do is they're going to say, oh, I could probably get that cheaper. And they go to Google and they put in marketing course. And you just lost the sale.
Okay.
When you attach it to a unique mechanism, when they go to Google and type in ACT marketing protocol, all roads lead to me. So you don't lose the sale, you gain credibility. And they're like, oh, this is the thing. This is the only place I can get it. I guess if I want it, I have to buy it here. You don't lose the sale. That's why it's a unique delivery mechanism. That's the thing about that.
Okay, so then if the wording for, I mean, I do multiple things, but I obviously have to niche down and narrow down to one thing. So I'll do weight loss, which I hate that terminology, but it's what everybody's familiar with. So my delivery mechanism for my program isn't weight loss, because it all leads won't lead to my realm, but
how about weight disintegration?
yeah.
I mean,
That's
something
cool.
they haven't heard before. Something that like, what? I want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but is that when you narrow it down to like tummy weight loss or a belly weight loss or menopausal weight loss. Like, you mean just narrow it down even further.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
could be a specialist on losing weight on your big toe because nobody else is doing it.
You know, I should probably, there's another commercial I should probably do a review of for you. And it was for belly fat specifically.
Oh, please.
And oh my God, it was phenomenal. I used it in my first act training. When I had those 65 people in the room, I played this video for them so they could see an example of it live. And it is just the most phenomenal thing. It's probably even better than the supplement one I did a couple of weeks ago. I'll see if I can
Okay.
find that. I know I have it in my archive somewhere. And
Oh,
I'll
cool. Yeah,
play
that
that for
sounds
you
interesting.
guys. Yeah, I'll play it and then I'll break it down like I did that other one because it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
So would that be the mechanism that would be unique for, I mean, any of us that are running a particular program?
Well, the unique mechanism is the specific name of your product or service, and that's why you make it a unique name. You have to name it. Otherwise, you're just telling them, you know, this is where you could find it. Go Google this and you'll find other stuff. You don't want to do
Yeah.
that. You want
No.
to say, this is my specific thing I developed, and this is why it works so much better than all the rest of the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You want to eliminate competition. That's part of what a good marketing campaign will do. It'll automatically
Okay.
just self-destruct everything outside of your parameters.
Okay. So because my program, I've named it Upper Power Weight Loss Program. The reason is because portion of my program is done through hypnotherapy. It works very well. And then the clinical nutrition. Upper power means, I know what it means, but so that's just not very good. I don't think that's very good now. I think that's awful. It doesn't say anything. What does upper power mean? Nothing. Name of a spark plug.
Well, usually when I'm naming stuff, I'll go back to the avatar and I'll figure out what is it they want, why do they want it, what's it going to do for them, and I'll try and build a name out of that. So like, for instance, ACT marketing protocol. Didn't really matter what the ACT was. That could have been anything, but it's a specific marketing protocol. That means it's not just marketing information. It's a thing that actually delivers the result. It's almost like a system. I didn't want to call it system because everybody's got a system. So I called it protocol. Means the same thing as system, but they're not hearing that.
Okay.
So it's ACT marketing protocol. This is the thing that delivers the result. So that's kind of, you go back to what they want. They want a system. They don't want, just some mumbo jumbo. They want something that actually works. It sounds scientific. It's like, wow, I want that. So I always try and do that with everything. I go back to the avatar and figure out what it is they want, why they want it, and I'll work from there.
Okay. Back to the drawing board.
Don't feel bad. This is work.
No.
Well
This
spent.
it's amazing information to move forward and to understand how people think when they're actually searching for stuff. Because I remember you said a couple of lessons ago, who cares? Like, who cares? What does that mean? Who cares that it says this? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't solve their problem in a sentence, right? Yeah. And that space between the fold that we have so little of and little time of has to be very impactful.
Yeah. And if any of you want higher level support on this stuff to do this specifically for your business, I do have the apprentice program that's basically working one-on-one privately with me to get your stuff figured out. That is available. I only do that for 8 people at a time, and it's usually sold out. But as people finished and dropped off or dropped out for health reasons or whatever, over the last year, I have not been refilling the spots. So I do have a couple open. If you're interested in that, just let me know.
Thank you.
All right, Suzanne, back to you. Oh, you're muted out.
Okay. I have heard that people buy, it's their subconscious that sells. Is that true? Them.
It's the subconscious that wants to buy, right? If you've ever seen my thing where I talk about seduce the heart and convince the head, the subconscious is what loves to buy stuff. The subconscious is where all of your desire lives. So when you make promises, the subconscious is like a little kid. It's like it sees what it wants and it wants it now, and it doesn't care about consequence. So the subconscious typically does drive sales. So you have to appeal to the subconscious. But then the conscious mind is like the adult, that's the parent. It steps in the way, and its job is to protect the heart. So it doesn't want the heart broken. So it says, bullshit, I don't believe it. That's where the objections come from.
Okay.
So the parent steps in the way and says, no, 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 we're not giving that to the kid.
Now,
You know.
next, with the skills I learned from you, I can develop my own business, correct?
Absolutely.
Good. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm all in for this.
All right, Linda. Just unmute there and oh, you're still muted.
Okay, better.
There you go. Now we got you.
Okay,
I'll finish up with you, and then we'll close out for today.
okay. So I must have come in late. I thought it was 2 o'clock. I thought it was 2 o'clock today.
No, I sent the thing out. It was I'm doing a speaking engagement at the convention center, so I had to move it up. So we did it from 9 to 11 instead of 11 to 1.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll go back and listen. But okay, so my question is briefly, when I started my business, the reason I started it was because my husband's an artist.
Okay.
And he creates metal stuff. And so then, and we also found the soaps. So then when it came push to, and then he made put our initials together, made Gemlore. So
Okay.
I put my domain under that. I recently, one of his friends wanted to sell pocketbooks, which has nothing to do with my soaps. So now I'm like, all right, well, I am Gemlore Gifts. So I guess on my menu, when you shop, I could add a page in there to say, shop unique products or something.
Correct.
And then, but so that I guess would integrate with the rest of my stuff. And then I'd have to kind of, when I send out my marketing, kind of rebrand myself to say, we're adding new products, unique products. Besides,
You don't really need to rebrand. Like your main
okay.
brand might be soap, right? And gifts.
Yeah.
So your main brand might be about gifts, and soap is your main thing, right? Luxury items, luxury soap, right? So
Right.
So that can remain your brand, that can remain your image, that can remain your homepage of your website. And then up in your nav bar, you could have a link in there for other stuff that you might be interested in. And
Okay.
that could take them to a sub homepage that has a bunch of different icons for different categories of stuff. That would probably be the way that I would recommend to do it. Now, under each one of those icons, when they click on that, then they go to the home page of just the art or the other things. And then each one of those pages under that website, that could function as its own landing page. So traffic could be sent right there without going up the line to your home page. So
Okay,
like,
I'm kind of lost. So in my main menu, I have the different shop products. So I could say shop soaps.
Yes.
And then in the next to that, I could do shop unique products.
Uh-huh.
Right? Okay,
Yes.
so then I could just add something into my description to say, into my text on the front page to say, all my stuff about soaps, but we've also added new products.
You could do that. Yeah, absolutely. But you don't have to. If you find that your audience is really fickle, which I don't think this is the case for you, I think you'd have no problem doing it that way.
Okay,
Because you might find other people that say, oh, well, that's really cool. And they might wind up buying that stuff.
okay,
I
all
don't
right,
see any reason specifically for you to not do that.
okay,
But you
all
don't
right,
have to change your look of your homepage. You don't have to change your brand. You don't have to do any of that.
okay,
This
okay,
is just additional stuff that you do. The only place where I would kind of try and hide it, if it was something that was like incongruent, like, if you were selling,
if I was Gemlore soaps instead of Gemlore gifts.
yeah, I'll use a ridiculous analogy.
Okay,
If you were selling weeds, like garden weeds, and you were a promoter of garden weeds, and you were all about garden weeds, and they were the best thing on earth, and then you're selling Roundup to kill them,
oh, okay,
that would be a little incongruent.
I see, okay, okay,
That you need to split the ways there.
yeah, okay, all right, very good,
But
okay,
if it's stuff that, could go together and not have any conflicts, there's no reason to, create additional web pages and stuff, or websites. You can create all the pages you want under your website.
okay,
So you can have all different pages for all this different stuff. And, that's like a commerce store. A commerce store has categories. They have
right,
categories of products, and they've got hundreds, if not thousands, of products under those categories.
right, okay. All right, so then I guess I'll stay with Gemlore gifts and then work from there.
Yeah, that leaves you open to anything, really.
Okay, thank you.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna wrap up. I know there's some people just popping in here. You probably didn't get the message. The call was from 9 to 11 instead of our traditional 11 to 1, because I've got a speaking engagement here. So Russ is like, oh, I sent you an email, Russ.
You know how many emails I get?
Oh, sorry about that. But this was a really good call. I'll put the recording up this afternoon when I get back, and it's probably worth watching. So
It was a good call. I missed it.
Yeah. Well,
Good
hey,
stuff.
anytime John gets on his soapbox, it's a good call, and this was a good one.
Ah,
Yeah,
damn it.
the soapbox was stacked pretty high today, so you might want to check it.
Okay, bye.
All right, my bad.
Hi,
Catch you next time.
No worries. Suzanne, did you have something before we wrap up?
No, bye.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a
Hey.
great
Thanks,
week.
John.
I'm going to go back here to the convention center and do my thing, and I'll let you know how it went. So,
Thanks, man. Have a
Yeah.
good time.
okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.